Hello everybody. This is a short little video tutorial on some of my most commonly used retouching techniques for beauty retouching of people's faces. The key here, I think, especially in modern day um, thinking, is that you don't want to over Photoshop somebody. You don't want to make somebody look so artificial or so fake that they can't even recognize themselves when they see the picture. So the trend today is to do kind of the minimum amount of retouching. You don't want to, for instance, take out people's freckles because that's part of who they are. Zits, yes. Dark spots, yes. Freckles or moles or other natural things, I like to leave alone. So I want to go through some of the techniques that mentioned in your written notes, and then also show you some of my own personal ones. These are not exhaustive, okay? You can find the images that we're going to use in this video. They are listed under course content in a folder of images, so you can pull them up yourself and practice on these as well. And try all the different techniques. There's more that are mentioned in the Scott Kelby chapter of the book that I've given you a link to the PDF file on. I would encourage you to download that and go through that as well. Anyway, we're going to jump into it right now. I'm going to bring these three images into Photoshop. By the way, Photoshop is where you want to do this beauty retouching. There's not really very many local techniques to use in Camera Raw or Lightroom. So, most of the beauty retouching techniques are done more in Photoshop. First thing I want to encourage you to do is make a background copy of your photo so that you're not doing everything right on the photo itself. How do you do that? Bring up the Layers palette. If you haven't done that before, go to Windows and say Layers. And then click on this little lock icon to unlock the layer. And then go ahead and drag the layer to that little plus sign down there. And that will give you a copy of your layer that's sitting on top of your original photo. And if you do all of your beauty and retouching on this, then you can turn that on and off and see the progress of your adjustments. Now, in this particular example, this lady has a couple of predominant wrinkles around her mouth area. One basically on this side, one on this side. The best technique I found to do away with that is to use the patch tool in Photoshop. Now, if you go over to your Tools palette and you click on this, if you right-click on this little icon, it brings up a number of hidden tools. Spot healing brush is good for like zits, because one little click and you're done. The patch tool is good for larger areas, like these wrinkles. So click on the patch tool, and then at the top of the screen, there's sort of two ways to use this. You want to make sure that the word source is clicked, okay? And then basically you draw a selection around the wrinkle itself, like so, and then you move it in one direction or the other to reveal new skin. So I think I'm going to take it maybe just a little bit up, and then see it also duplicated some of the other blemishes, but we can fix that. Go Command D to deselect those, and then we want to remove this one right here that was been duplicated from there. So we'll just drag it over here and deselect. And then also we're going to do these because they got reproduce as well. Go deselect. There we go. Clean. Now let's go back over this direction and do the same thing for these wrinkles over here. Be careful around the finger there. Like so. I'm going to drag that downwards a little bit to a clean patch right there. And then Command D to deselect. And there we go. This also works for any dark places under the eyes. For instance, let's do this area right here. Avoid the eyebrows, but just this red dark area. Make a selection around that, and then sort of drag it down into a cleaner area here, and then let go. And you can even do it again. And so, let's try another one here. All right, now let's see if we have any blemishes that we need to take care of with the spot healing brush. Spot healing brush works well with zits and so on and so forth because it can do it in one click. Put the mode on normal unless it's a dark mode. For instance, we're going to get rid of this one here. Bam. And make our brush a little bit smaller with the left and right bracket keys. We can go in here and fix that one and fix this. I'm going to leave that one that looks natural. I'm going to leave this one that looks natural. Let's see if there's any other ones I want to take care of. I'm going to leave that. That's pretty natural looking. Maybe right there. Take that out. And that looks good. I don't want to, again, I don't want to mess with her freckles because that's, again, who she is. Your notes mentions a technique to whiten the eyes. I want to do that one here for you. So we're going to zoom in close to the eyes. And we're going to make a selection. So one of the best or easiest ways to make a selection is to choose the quick selection tool. Okay. And your cursor becomes sort of a brush. And we're going to sort of go in here and try and select as much of the whites of her eyes as possible. And then we want to click on the minus, which is the Alt Option button, and sort of refine our selection to get it out of the pupil area and just on the whites of the eyes. Kind of reining this in a bit. I'm going to switch over to the plus and make a smaller brush and sort of try and extend things up into that area and maybe up into that area. And then we're going to go to the other eye as well and continue adding to our selection over there. Again, switching to the Alt option button for the minus when it selects too much, sort of refining it. Again, getting it out of the pupil area. So we're just selecting basically the whites of the eyes. And this works well. You know, a lot of people have trouble with bloodshot eyes. And this is going to take the redness out of somebody's eyes without the use of eye drops. Okay, so there's my selection. Now, whenever you do a selection, it's best, let me add a little bit more over here on this corner. It's best to what's called feather that selection, so you don't see a distinct difference between the selected material and the not selected material. So when you get done making a selection like this, go up to the word filter. Go up to the word select and say modify and then feather. And probably 2 pixels would be good here, and click OK. You're not going to see a difference yet, but that's just saying Photoshop's going to add 2 pixels to the selection and sort of feather or blur those 2 pixels. Now let's go up to image and say adjustments and say hue saturation. And we want to target where it says master. Click on that and say reds. We're going to target the reds, and we're going to take the saturation slider and move it to the left. What this is it's desaturating the reds out of the whites and the pupils, and then also take the lightness and go up with it if you want to brighten their eyes. And if you want to see what you did, click on the preview button, before, after, and then click, when you're happy with what you did, click OK. And then Command D to deselect. And we've brightened her eyes. Now, the next thing I would probably work on is smoothing her skin. All right. How would I approach this? See in this area where you can see the pores on her skin. We want to blur those out. We don't want to see the pores, or even on this side, like the peach fuzz on her skin. We want to blur those details out, and it's going to make it look like she has more makeup on than she does. I think the best way to do that is with the actual blur tool. Okay, if you click on that little triangle, right click, you have a blur tool and a sharpen tool. We're going to use both, but first we're going to blur these skin features. Put your strength at the top, about 50% for this. And then a fairly big brush and a very soft brush, so not too much on the hardness. I'm basically going 0 on the hardness. And avoid the eyes, but start painting below this area and blurring all the detail out, and you're basically smoothing her skin at this point, where you don't see the definite detail anymore, and you're not going to see each individual pore. And then we're going to come back later and we're going to add some sharpness around the eyes, nose, and mouth. And you can do this with a fairly big brush if you want. Go in here between the mouth and the nose and blur this area as well, because we can really see the pores in that area. And feather it out. Working down towards the chin area. Now stay away from the edges of the face itself. Okay? We don't want to blur that out. In fact, we're going to come back in here in a moment and sharpen those areas. And then the areas where it's already soft, we're not going to worry about. All right, now switch to the sharpen tool. And again, I'm at 25% with my sharpen tool. And we're going to start with doing the lips. Let's see what my hardness is. Okay, not much. Good. And you can do this over again as well, however many times you need to bring out the detail you want. Then I would stay sort of outside her face and just do once around the outline of her face. Now this stuff down here is really blurry to start with, so it's not going to matter too much there. And I would also do this part of her nose where the detail is, like right here at the tip of the nose and where the nose meets the face. We want to define the detail there. And then we're going to go up here and we're going to do her eyes. Sharpness with the eyelashes, the eyes. And then we'll go smaller on the brush in a moment and do the eyebrows. We're bringing out detail in the eyelashes and in the eye itself. Because we want those areas sharp. Let's go a little bit smaller now and do the eyebrows. So paint over those, 2 or 3 times to where you're happy with the detail that's brought out there. And then we're going to do a little bit in the hair, make a bigger brush here, and get some more definition to this hair right here. And then we're going to, for the forehead, we're going to switch to the blur. Again, back to the blur tool and blur out. Now, some of this is already blurry over here, but not over here. So we're going to get a rather big brush and kind of blur this area over here. And then again, switch to the sharpen, and we'll define the hair over here. There we go. And then maybe just do a overall sharpening of the entire photo here. So go up to filter and say sharpen, unsharp mask. Again, I'm at 50, 1 and 1, and okay. There. Now let's compare our before and after. So this is our after. And then if we click over here on our layer, we've done all of these adjustments on this one layer. So if we click off the eyeball over here, it will bring back the original photo. So there's the original. You can see we've removed the redness here. We've removed these blemishes. We've sharpened the eyes. Big improvement, right? All right, let's go to the next image, and we're basically going to do a lot of the same. This particular woman has a little bit more skin blemishes to deal with. She also has some crow's feet or some wrinkles underneath her eyes that we're going to take care of. She's got some dark blemishes here that we're going to take out. So again, I'm going to start over here with the spot healing brush because it is sort of a one-stop healing, and just make your brush a little bit bigger than the blemish itself and click once and it's gone. She also has some bumps in here, and and we can remove those as well. And let's try and do this area of her cheek. It's kind of a red spot right there. And then right here. And then she has a little darkness down in here underneath her lip. I'm going to go small and try and fix that first. And then just this darkness here, I'm going to switch. Instead of going normal mode here, I'm going to say lighten mode. And we'll just try and get rid of that dark patch right in here with the lighten. And if you don't like the way something worked, just click and step backwards or undo it. Like I wasn't really too happy with what that happened there. Let's switch back to normal mode. I don't like that one either. I don't like that either. Let's try a different approach here. Let's try a patch tool. Just make a selection right there. And then maybe bring it over here. Oh, that's better, much better. Now I'm going to leave this one because that looks really natural. I'm going to leave that one. That looks natural. I'm going to leave that. But now let's go up in here. We got the patch tool. So let's try and get rid of some of these wrinkles. Again, just trace around them. You don't have to be exact. And then you're dragging them slightly one way or the other. Try not to get into any of the eyelashes up there. I'm going to drag it straight down a little bit. I can blur the rest of those out. Let's go on to the other side and try over here. Got one or two on this side that we're going to take care of. Here's one. Maybe another one here. And maybe another one right there. All right, good, good, good. Now, let's do some softening, some skin softening. So going back to our blur tool, we'll go in here and start softening this detail. And you can see how sort of magic that is in removing any other wrinkles. Also, smoothing out the pores. All right, let's move down to the jaw area here. Smooth this out. Again, stay away from the mouth, stay away from the very edge when you're smoothing. Go in here and switch to a smaller brush. Go in between the mouth and nose. Do a little more smoothing. All right, let's do some down the chin. Now, let's go around the face with some sharpening. So switch over to our sharpening tool, fairly wide, and let's just do a trip around, just defining the edge of her face from the background. We already have a good blur on the background, so I'm not worried about that, but just bringing back some sharpness to that area. Again, probably trace up in here. And then let's switch to the sharpening, the blur tool. And we'll go up in here and blur the pores up in here. Looks good. She does have maybe like a scar I just saw right there. We'll take care of like that. And then let's go sharpen and bring back some of the detail in her hair. Sharpen up in the hair and her veil there. All right, now let's drop down and do the eyes. Sharpening. And notice that one eye is sharper than the other one. This one is it's going to need a little bit more sharpening, but it's still not going to look as sharp as the other one, just because this one wasn't the focus point sharpness of the photo anyway. And let's try and brighten her eyes. If you remember that technique where we made a selection out of the whites of her eyes. Looks like I might have stayed up a little bit late. Just got some redness there. Refine the selection just a little bit. Oops. All right, feather, modify feather. Let's do 2. And then remember, we went up to image adjustments and hue saturation. We said reds and took the saturation down on the reds. And then brightened a little bit. You don't want to make them glowing, so you can go too far there. That looks pretty good. Before, after, and OK. And Command D, deselect. Good. We need to go back and sharpen her nose detail, like right in here, where the nose meets the face. And then we'll do her lips. By the way, if you wanted to enhance her lips, you could do a selection of the lips, go into the hue saturation and click on the reds and pump up the reds as well if you wanted. And then just to finish it off, let's do a unsharp mask over the whole picture. And then let's see a before and after. Oh, Mr. Isaacson forgot to put this on a separate layer. That's okay. We can still see the before and after. If we go back and do the history panel, and we go back in time all the way to, here's the before. Ooh, before. Watch your screen. Before, 1, 2, 3, after. Okay, 1, 2, 3, after. Wow, big difference. Big difference. All right. One more thing, and I'm going to use this guy's photo. Whitening teeth. So let's zoom in real close on his teeth. And we're going to basically use the same technique we used to whiten the eyes to do the teeth here. So we're going to do a selection of his teeth with the quick select tool. So make a quick selection here, and then we'll refine it with the minus alt option. Make our brush a little smaller and go in here and sort of separate the bottom teeth from the top teeth. Again, we're just tightening up our selection here. So we're trying to get just the teeth if possible. So I'm on the minus. Just trying to clean things up and make a tighter selection here. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and do the feathering. So up here to select, modify, feather. Let's just do a 1 pixel this time. And then go to image adjustments, hue saturation. And we're going to select the yellows this time instead of reds. Yellows. And then take the saturation and go to the minus on it. And even go with the lightness and go up with it. And you can make his teeth as white as you want. But I'm going to keep it real. So before, after, yellow teeth, instant teeth whitening, ta-da. All right, well, we're happy with that. And then deselect. And then again, I forgot to do a background layer, so we'll go up here to the history panel and go up here, and there's our before. We have the yellow teeth, and 1, 2, 3, bam, there's our brilliant white teeth. And we didn't even go to the dentist. So, all right, I hope you enjoyed this demonstration of the wonders of Photoshop. And again, I think the key is keeping it real, not making somebody look so fake, but keeping sort of some of their personality in the photo when we're doing our touch-ups. All right, thanks for watching.